Bienvenido a mi diario de Inglés Británico, un podcast para hispanohablantes que quieren entender inglés británico con confianza y progresar profesionalmente en el Reino Unido. Soy Shandon, coach nativo de inglés británico y sí, también hablo español. En cada episodio hablo en inglés británico real y conversacional, para que practiques tu comprensión auditiva y te acostumbres a cómo hablamos los nativos en la vida diaria. En este episodio voy a responder a una pregunta muy interesante. ¿Qué haría si ganara la lotería? Te recomiendo que escuches este episodio más de una vez. No te preocupes si no entiendes todo. Cada vez que escuches, vas a entender más. Vale, empecemos.
The lottery is something that interests me quite a lot. It's something which is popular around the world, but it's a really interesting concept, in my opinion. So in this episode, I'm going to speak about the lottery and answer the very interesting question, what would you do if you won the lottery? So let's get into it. Before answering that question, let's answer a simpler question. What is the lottery? The lottery is a game that many people play where they pay a small amount of money for the chance to win big, huge amounts of money. There are lots of different types of lottery in the UK and in the world. In the UK specifically, usually you pick some numbers, and if your numbers are chosen when the lottery is drawn, then you will win lots of money. Well, at least you can win lots of money. There are a range of different prizes. Some of the prizes are small, others are much bigger. In the UK, you usually pay about £2 to play the lottery for the chance to win millions of pounds. For example, I just checked online and there's a lottery tonight called the Euro Millions, and the grand prize, the biggest prize you can win, is £185 million, which is a huge amount of money. Nowadays, most countries have their own lottery, but the lottery isn't a new concept either. It's actually a very old game and a very old concept. The first ever lottery was played in China about 2,000 years ago. And the first lottery in Europe, that took place in Bruges, in Belgium, Bélgica, in 1449, 1449. Speaking specifically about England, England's first lottery was in 1569, 1569, while Queen Elizabeth I was queen. Okay, that's enough history for now. Let's get to the main question of this episode. And that question, as I mentioned before, is what would you do if you won the lottery? I think this is a question people often ask each other in England. And it's a question I often talk about in my family. Not every week or every month, but on a regular basis, it's quite an interesting thing to speak about with family, in my opinion. Whether you like the concept of the lottery or not, I think is an interesting thought exercise. That is, it's an interesting thing to think about what you would do if you won a large amount of money. So now I'm going to tell you what I'd do if I won the lottery. I'm going to imagine I've won £10 million and I'll tell you what I would do with that money. So of course £10 million is a life-changing amount of money. It would change my life and my family's lives. The first thing I would do with that money is help my family pay off any debts that they have. I don't know if my family have any debts, but I would ask them and help them to pay off those debts so that they don't owe banks, credit cards, or anyone else any money. This will help my family have financial security and make sure that they don't have to worry about money as much. Because when you don't have debt, you can worry a lot less. Once I've done that and helped my family pay off any debts that they have, the next thing I would do is give money to different family members to help them live their dreams, help them have financial stability, and for some of them, make sure that they don't have to work at all, or so that they don't have to work as much at least. The first person I would give money to is my granddad. If I had £10 million, I would give my granddad £1 million. My granddad is 67 and he should be retiring, but he's not retired yet. So I would give him £1 million so that he could retire and live some great experiences for the rest of his life. The second person I would give money to is my mum. I would give her £3 million. This is so that she could buy her own house, not have to worry about rent and paying rent, el alquiler, so she could go on the holidays that she likes going on, and so that she could retire from work as well. She finds her work quite stressful, so this would allow her to relax and be much more at peace. Next, I would give £500,000 or 500k to each of my siblings. I have 3 siblings, an older sister and 2 younger brothers, and I would give them each £500,000. I would give this directly to my sister, since she's 32 and can look after herself, whereas for my brothers, they're only 16 and 12, so I would keep this money for them for when they want it or need it in the future. And the final person I would give money to is my aunt, and I would give my aunt £250,000 for her and her family. My aunt is very entrepreneurial. She likes starting her own businesses with her husband, and so I would give them this money so that they could invest in their own businesses. After giving all of that money to my family, that would leave around £4 million for me. So what would I do next? I would save £1 million. I would put it in the bank and leave it there so that I never have to worry about an emergency expense ever again. After that, I would look to buy a house in London. Of course, houses in London are quite expensive. Everything in London is quite expensive. But I would look to buy a house for around £1.5 million. I would look to buy a house in South London that has 4 bedrooms, has a garden, nothing too extravagant or lavish, because I don't like extravagant or lavish things, but somewhere really nice that would last for a long time. Another £1 million I would invest in myself. What do I mean by that? I would invest in my own learning through courses, mentors, the ability to learn skills, and also in my own business. As you know, I have my own English teaching business, so I would use the £1 million to invest in this business and help me to grow this business, which would leave me with around £500,000 left. And that £500,000 I would use for spending. What would I spend it on? First of all, a new wardrobe. I don't buy clothes very often. I don't enjoy buying clothes. But if I had £500,000 to spend, one thing I would do is buy myself some new clothes, some nice things to help me look nice, feel good, and just present myself better. I would get rid of all of my old clothes as well that maybe are a bit tatty, a bit ruined, and so on. I would also buy myself a really nice rucksack. Yes, this is quite a small thing, but I love rucksacks and I always have a rucksack with me and my own water bottle. So a nice rucksack would be nice to have. I would buy a new phone as well, since I've had my phone for a few years now. Then I would also travel, for sure. As I mentioned in one of my other episodes, travel is my favourite thing to do. So I would travel to Guatemala, maybe, to Ghana, and to other places in the world as well. And I would spend money on driving lessons. I don't know how to drive yet, so I would love to learn to drive, and I would pay for driving lessons and my driving test with that money. Apart from those things, I don't think I would spend large amounts of money on anything else. There's nothing in particular that interests me. One thing I would definitely not buy is a fancy car. First of all, because of course I don't know how to drive, so it would be pointless. But second of all, fancy, extravagant, lavish cars don't really interest me, to be honest. Apart from that, I would kind of live the same, to be honest. Maybe I would use some money to buy healthier foods and to pay for someone to cook, do the shopping and clean for me as well, because they're things I don't particularly enjoy doing and it would save me lots of time. But I don't think my day-to-day life would change that much. I would simply use the money so that I don't have to worry as much about my finances, and so that I could focus on growing my business and having great life experiences as well. So that's it. That's what I'd do if I won the lottery. Is it similar to what you would do? Or is it very different? I would love to know on Instagram. Feel free to send me a message with what you would do if you won the lottery. Thanks a lot for listening, and I'll see you next time.
Gracias por escuchar este episodio de mi diario de Inglés Británico. Ya has dedicado tiempo a tu aprendizaje hoy, y eso suma más de lo que crees. Poco a poco, tu inglés va a mejorar. Si vives en el Reino Unido y sientes que tu inglés te está frenando profesionalmente, te invito a hacer una evaluación de fluidez profesional gratuita conmigo. En esta sesión, analizo cómo hablas inglés hoy, identifico exactamente qué te está bloqueando y te explico qué necesitas trabajar para hablar con más claridad y confianza. No es una clase, es un diagnóstico claro y honesto de tu inglés hablado. Escríbeme por mensaje en Instagram para reservar tu evaluación. Dejo el enlace a mi cuenta en la descripción del episodio. Gracias y nos vemos pronto. Bye.